Welcome to BookTube English. Let's improve our English while exploring the most widely read books in the world. This channel features a variety of genres: self-help, business, health, religion, and spirituality, all organized into separate playlists. Have you ever set a big, ambitious goal for yourself? Maybe it was at the start of the year, a New Year's resolution. You were going to get fit, learn a new language, write a book, or start a business. You felt that surge of motivation, that spark of excitement. You told yourself, this year's going to be different. You might have even bought the gym membership, downloaded the language app, or opened a blank document. And for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, it worked. But then life happened. Motivation faded. You missed one day, then two, and before you knew it, that big, ambitious goal was just a distant memory, another failed attempt. And what's the first thing we do when that happens? We blame ourselves. We think, I don't have enough willpower, or I'm just too lazy, or I'm just not the kind of person who can stick with things. Well, what if I told you that the problem isn't you? What if the reason you're having trouble changing your habits isn't because of a lack of motivation or willpower, but because you have the wrong system for change? This is the groundbreaking, life-altering premise of the book we are diving into today. It's a book that has sold over 20 million copies worldwide, been translated into more than 50 languages, and has completely reshaped the way millions of people think about progress and success. Today, we are exploring the modern classic, Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones by James Clear. This isn't just any self-help book. It's the #1 New York Times bestseller for a reason. James Clear isn't just a writer. He's considered one of the world's leading experts on habit formation. He's a regular speaker at Fortune 500 companies, and his work has been featured in Time Magazine, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. He has an incredibly popular weekly email newsletter called 321 that goes out to more than 3 million subscribers. So when this guy talks about habits, people listen. And they listen because what he says makes profound, intuitive sense, and more importantly, it works. The core idea of Atomic Habits is right there in the title. The word atomic has two meanings. First, it means tiny, like an atom, an incredibly small but fundamental unit of a larger system. Second, it refers to a source of immense energy and power. And that's exactly what an atomic habit is. A tiny change, a minuscule routine that is a source of incredible power when compounded over time. We often convince ourselves that to get massive results, we need to take massive action. We think we need an earth-shattering moment of transformation. But James Clear argues the exact opposite. He introduces us to the power of 1%. It sounds insignificant, doesn't it? Getting 1% better at something each day. You won't even notice it today or tomorrow, but the math behind this concept is astounding. If you get just 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day, you'll decline nearly down to 0. This is what he calls the compound interest of self-improvement. Just like money multiplies with compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. This is why we so often fail. We make a small change, go to the gym a few times, or eat a healthy meal, and we look in the mirror and see no difference. We get discouraged and slide back into our old routines because the results don't come quickly enough. Atomic Habits teaches us to fall in love with the process, not just the product. It's about building a system of tiny, easy-to-do behaviors that inevitably lead to the results you want. Clear's most famous line, which we'll discuss later, is, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." So, how do we build these systems? This is the beauty and practicality of the book. Clear doesn't just give you theory. He gives you a simple 4-step framework that you can apply to any habit you want to build or break. He draws on proven ideas from biology, psychology, and neuroscience and distills them into 4 simple laws. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. For example, want to build a habit of reading more? The first law, make it obvious. Don't hide your book on a shelf, put it right on your pillow. You can't miss it. The second law, make it attractive. Pair it with something you love. Maybe you only allow yourself to drink your favorite cup of tea while you're reading. The third law, make it easy. Don't commit to reading a chapter a night, commit to reading 1 page. Anyone can read 1 page. This is what he calls the 2-minute rule. The fourth law, make it satisfying. Get a calendar and put a big X on it every day you complete your habit. Don't break the chain. That visual progress is incredibly satisfying. The book is filled with these kinds of practical, actionable strategies. It teaches you things like habit stacking, where you link a new habit to an existing one, or how to design your environment for success, making the cues for your good habits visible and the cues for your bad habits invisible. And to make it all come alive, Clear weaves in true, inspiring stories of Olympic gold medalists, successful artists, business leaders, and even star comedians who have used these very principles to master their craft and reach the top of their fields. It's no wonder the book has received such universal acclaim. Mark Manson, the #1 New York Times best-selling author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F, called it a supremely practical and useful book. James Clear distills the most fundamental information about habit formation, so you can accomplish more by focusing on less. Think about that. Coming from an author who is famous for cutting through the noise and getting to what really matters, that's incredibly high praise. Adam Grant, another giant in the world of nonfiction and a best-selling author himself, said, "This engaging, hands-on book is the guide you need to break bad routines and make good ones." And Ryan Holiday, the author of The Obstacle is the Way, put it simply, "A special book that will change how you approach your day and live your life." It's not just famous authors either. The book's practicality is praised by professionals in all fields. A physician, Dr. Lori Marbus, said, "As a physician attempting to help my patients build healthy habits, Atomic Habits is the playbook I have been searching for. This should be taught in all medical schools." That really speaks volumes about how applicable and effective this framework is in the real world for real-life problems. And what about everyday readers like you and me? The response on platforms like Amazon and Goodreads is overwhelming. With over 140,000 ratings on Amazon and over 1 million on Goodreads, the consensus is clear. Readers consistently find the book incredibly helpful, with many calling it the most impactful self-improvement book they have ever read. People love that the content is so easy to understand and follow. The narrative style is engaging, full of interesting stories that make it hard to put down. Most importantly, readers emphasize that the advice is practical and can be applied immediately. It's not just abstract theory. It's a true guidebook for creating and maintaining good habits. While a few find it a bit wordy, the vast majority agree that every page is packed with value. Now, let's get to the part I'm most excited about. Let's dive into some of the most powerful and thought-provoking quotes from Atomic Habits. These are the ideas that will stick with you long after you finish the book. We'll read each one and then we'll break it down together to really understand the profound wisdom packed into these simple sentences. Our first quote is one that fundamentally reframes the entire concept of achievement. It is, Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Let's sit with that for a moment. Goals are the results. Systems are the processes. At first glance, it might seem like a subtle distinction, but it is everything. Most of us are goal-oriented. We say, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to write a novel, or I want to run a marathon. These are the goals. They are the finish line. The problem, as Clear explains, is that focusing only on the finish line can be incredibly demotivating. Think about it. If your goal is to run a marathon, you are essentially in a state of failure until the moment you cross that finish line. Every training run you do, every early morning you wake up, you still haven't achieved your goal. You are constantly falling short. This can create a feeling of all or nothing. If you have a bad training day or miss a run, you might feel like you failed and be tempted to give up entirely. Now let's reframe this with a system-oriented approach. Instead of focusing on run a marathon, you focus on the system. I am a person who doesn't miss workouts. Or, more specifically, my system is to put on my running shoes and go out the door every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. The goal is no longer the marathon itself, but simply executing the system. Did you put your shoes on and go out the door today? Yes. Then today was a success. You win. This shifts your focus from a distant, far-off destination to the immediate, controllable present. Success is no longer something you achieve in 6 months. Success is something you can achieve today, right now. The goal of running a marathon tells you where to point. It gives you direction. But the system of running 3 times a week is what actually makes the progress. The goal is the what. The system is the how. And as the book so powerfully argues, winners and losers often have the same goals. Every Olympian wants to win a gold medal. Every job applicant wants to get the job. The goal doesn't differentiate them. What differentiates them is their system. A better system will always win out in the long run. So, ask yourself, what are your goals? And more importantly, what are the daily, weekly systems you have in place to actually get you there? This single shift in perspective can be a complete game changer. Let's move on to our second quote, which takes this idea of systems one step deeper and connects it to our very sense of self. It's a powerful 2-part instruction. Decide the type of person you want to be. Prove it to yourself with small wins. This is, for me, one of the most profound ideas in the entire book. It's about identity-based habits. So often, when we try to change, we focus on the outcome. I want to be thin. Outcome. Or, I want to read more. Outcome. Clear suggests we flip this on its head. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on whom you wish to become. The process starts with a simple question. Who is the type of person that could achieve the thing I want to achieve? You don't just want to lose weight, you want to become the type of person who is healthy and active. You don't just want to write a book, you want to become the type of person who is a writer.
Once you've decided on that identity, I am a healthy person, I am a writer, I am a studious person, the second part of the quote kicks in. Prove it to yourself with small wins. This is where the magic happens. Your identity emerges out of your habits. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Let's use the writer example. If you want to be a writer, what does a writer do? A writer writes. Your goal is not to write a novel. That's too big, too intimidating. Your small win, your vote for your new identity, is to write 1 sentence. Just one. Can you write 1 sentence today? Of course you can. And when you do, you have cast a vote. You have provided a tiny piece of evidence that you are, in fact, a writer. If you want to be a healthy person, you don't start by committing to a grueling 2-hour workout 5 days a week. You start with a small win that proves your new identity. Maybe you decide to do 10 push-ups when you wake up. Or maybe you just put on your workout clothes. That's it. You did it. You just cast a vote for I am a healthy person. These small wins seem insignificant on their own, but they are not. Each one is like a drop of water carving a canyon. Over time, as the evidence piles up, you start to actually believe it. The new identity starts to feel real. You stop trying to be a writer, you are a writer. You stop trying to be a healthy person, you are a healthy person. And once that identity is ingrained, it becomes much easier to stick with the habits that reinforce it. You're no longer fighting for a change, you're simply acting in alignment with who you already believe you are. This is a far more powerful and sustainable source of motivation than chasing a fleeting outcome. So, who do you want to be? And what is the smallest possible action you can take today to cast a vote for that identity? Next up, we have a quote that beautifully clarifies the relationship between our ambitions and our actions. It's a slightly different take on our first quote, but the nuance is incredibly important. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. Let's really unpack this. Imagine you're planning a road trip from Los Angeles to New York City. Your goal is get to New York City. That goal is essential. It sets your direction. It tells you which way to point the car. Without that goal, you'd just be driving aimlessly. You wouldn't know whether to head east, west, north, or south. So, goals are absolutely critical for giving us clarity and purpose. They are the why. However, once you've set that goal, staring at the map of New York City all day won't get you there. You can be the most motivated person in the world, dreaming of Times Square and the Statue of Liberty, but if you don't get in the car and start driving, you will stay in Los Angeles. The driving is your system. The system is getting up in the morning, checking the oil, putting gas in the car, programming the GPS for the day's journey, and actually pressing the accelerator and steering the wheel for hours on end. The system is the boring, unglamorous process that actually moves you forward. It's what makes progress. This is where so many of us get stuck. We are great at setting goals. We are fantastic dreamers. We spend all our time thinking about the destination, the promotion, the fit body, the published book. We get a temporary high from just setting the goal, but we neglect to build the system that will actually make the progress. We want the result without committing to the routine. This quote is a reminder that you need both, but they serve different functions. The goal is your compass. The system is your engine. Use the goal to decide where you're going, but then shift your focus almost entirely to the system.
Did I follow my system today? Did I make my sales calls? Did I do my 20 minutes of exercise? Did I write my 500 words? Focus on winning the day by executing your system. If you do that consistently, day after day, you will eventually look up and find yourself at your destination. The progress happens not when you're looking at the map, but when you're focused on the road right in front of you. Systems are what turn a dream into a reality. And that brings us to our final quote. This one ties everything together: systems, identity, and the very core of human motivation. It's about reaching a state where good habits feel effortless. The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. It's one thing to say, I'm the type of person who wants this. It's something very different to say, I'm the type of person who is this. Let's break down that powerful distinction. I'm the type of person who wants this versus I'm the type of person who is this. The first statement, I want this, is rooted in a sense of lacking. It implies a gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you say, I want to be fit, you are also implicitly saying, I am currently not fit. This creates friction. Every time you have to go to the gym, you are battling your current identity. It feels like a chore, a struggle against your very nature. You need willpower and external motivation to push through because the action is not aligned with your self-image. Now consider the second statement, I am this. Think of someone who has been running for years. They don't wake up in the morning and say, ugh, I have to go for a run to be a fit person. They wake up and think, I'm a runner, it's time to run. It's not a decision, it's an expression of who they are. The behavior is effortless because it aligns perfectly with their ingrained identity. They are not trying to become a runner, they simply are one. This is the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation, motivation that comes from within. You're not doing the habit to get a result, you're doing the habit because it's an affirmation of your identity. This is the end goal of the entire Atomic Habits framework. By starting with tiny atomic habits, make it easy. You cast votes for your desired identity. Prove it with small wins. By building a system, systems over goals, you accumulate those votes consistently. Over time, the evidence becomes so overwhelming that your self-image begins to shift. You read 1 page a night. At first, you want to be a reader. After a year of not missing a night, you just are a reader. You go for a walk every day after lunch. At first, you want to be a healthy person. After 6 months, you just are a healthy person. The pride you take in your identity becomes the fuel that sustains the habit. You don't skip your workout because that's not who I am. You don't eat junk food for lunch because a healthy person wouldn't do that. Your identity guides your actions, making good choices the automatic path of least resistance. It's a profound shift from I have to do this to this is who I am. And that right there is the secret to making good habits last a lifetime. So, to wrap things up, Atomic Habits is so much more than a collection of life hacks or productivity tips. It's a manual for re-engineering your own behavior and identity from the ground up. It gives you the tools and strategies to stop fighting against yourself and start building systems that work for you, not against you. Whether you're part of a team trying to win a championship, an organization hoping to redefine an industry, or just an individual who wants to quit smoking, lose weight, reduce stress, or achieve any other goal, this book provides a clear, proven, and incredibly powerful framework. It truly will reshape the way you think about progress and success. It's a book that you don't just read once. You return to it again and again, like a trusted guide on the journey of self-improvement. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's a book that lives up to every bit of its massive hype. Thank you so much for joining me today on BookTube English. I hope this deep dive into Atomic Habits has inspired you and given you some valuable insights. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might need to hear this message, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next book exploration. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one atomic habit you're inspired to start after this discussion? Or perhaps there's a book that has completely changed your perspective on habits or life in general. Please share your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. I read every single one, and I love building this community of readers and learners with you. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, happy reading.